A 20-machine vending route can net its owner over $3,000 a month or pay under $10 an hour. Same machine count, same business model. The hidden economics behind passive income in vending come down to placement contracts, margin pressure, and details most sellers never disclose. Those details determine whether you're building an asset or working a job that costs $83,000 to buy. Online creators, business brokers, and franchise-style marketers heavily promote this industry as the ultimate low-overhead venture. They pitch a highly automated, hands-off operation requiring no storefront, no employees, and minimal management. A message tailored for first-time buyers seeking simple small business income. But the balance sheet tells a different story. National industry surveys reveal that a single standard vending machine typically generates a modest gross revenue of just $150 to $400 per month. Once you subtract the cost of goods, card fees, and location commissions, that same machine walks away with a true net profit of only $40 to $120. At these baseline levels, an operator must secure dozens of prime locations just to generate a basic living. The gap between marketing slogans and these fundamental unit economics defines the real risk of route ownership. A high-performing 20-machine route reveals how the business functions under optimal conditions. In this optimized model, each machine averages $500 in monthly gross sales, generating $10,000 in total revenue. The cost structure requires precise management. 45% of that gross goes directly to buying food and beverage inventory. Location commissions consume another 8%, while credit card processing fees take 3%. Factoring in $5 per machine for basic telemetry and fuel reserves leaves a monthly operating profit of approximately $3,350. This 33% margin represents the upper limit of route performance. This outcome depends entirely on securing premium, high-foot traffic placements and maintaining consistent product throughput, representing the best-case scenario rather than the industry average. A weaker 20-machine route exposes the baseline vulnerability of the business. In this scenario, each machine averages $250 in monthly gross sales, cutting total revenue to $5,000. The expense structure immediately suffocates these lower volume placements. Inventory acquisition costs consume 50% of the gross. Location commissions, often set higher in less favorable contracts, take 10%, while credit card transactions drain another 3.5%. Telemetry and fuel reserves subtract a flat $100. This leaves a monthly operating profit of just $750. At this level, there is zero margin for placement errors or pricing miscalculations. This thin return represents the baseline reality before accounting for equipment breakdowns, self-employment taxes, or the owner's actual labor. The USDA Food at Home Price Index tracked a 15% spike in wholesale food prices, a macro shock that directly forces an operator's inventory costs from 45% of gross sales to nearly 52%. Simultaneously, Castle Systems' Back to Work barometer recorded a 10% decline in office occupancy. This drop in physical foot traffic immediately slashes top-line sales. These dual pressures do not erode margins proportionally. They compress profits non-linearly. Because fixed overhead costs like fuel, telemetry subscriptions, and equipment loans remain entirely unchanged, the operator cannot adjust their underlying obligations to match the lower revenue. A 15% cost spike combined with a 10% drop in transactions does not result in a simple linear decline in income. Instead, these uncontrolled external forces systematically strip away the thin layer of profitability, rapidly transforming a theoretically workable route into an unforgiving, loss-making operation. The true value of a vending route does not sit inside the steel chassis of the machine. It is dictated entirely by the legal strength of the placement contract. Property owners hold the ultimate leverage, routinely demanding 5 to 15% of gross sales. In high-traffic venues like hospitals, hotels, and shopping malls, these commissions regularly cluster between 10 and 20%. Without a secure, long-term agreement, an operator's business is highly volatile. Many routes rely on fragile month-to-month or non-transferable agreements, which immediately strip the route of its resale value. Worse, deals negotiated with a transient on-site manager instead of the actual property owner can vanish the moment personnel changes. Meanwhile, national corporate aggregators aggressively secure these prime locations, standardizing contracts and shutting out independent operators with rapid cashless upgrades. The machine itself is merely movable inventory. The paper contract is the only real asset. Operating a route demands a rigid weekly schedule of driving, physical loading, wholesale warehouse runs, cash counting, and machine cleaning. For a 20-machine route requiring 20 hours of physical labor per week, the strong route earning $3,350 a month yields an effective pre-tax wage of under $42 an hour. But a weak route earning $750 a month drops that hourly return to under $10, well below standard minimum wage. This labor is constantly disrupted by physical and mechanical failures that keep the route from ever becoming hands-off. Approximately 40% of service calls target malfunctioning bill validators, coin mechanisms, touchscreens, or refrigeration compressors. Operators face a stark trade-off: buy expensive new machines with full warranties, or purchase cheaper used hardware that carries higher immediate breakdown risks. A single catastrophic mechanical failure, such as a blown refrigeration compressor costing up to $1,500, or a damage event like broken glass, a forced door, or a completely emptied cash vault, instantly erases months of accumulated net profit on a marginal location. Every cashless swipe chips away at the thin margins of low-ticket transactions. When a customer purchases a snack priced between $1.50 and $3, card processors take 2 to 4% of that transaction, often adding a flat per-swipe fee. Telemetry platforms, which provide cellular connectivity to monitor inventory, add a fixed software subscription of $8 to $12 per machine each month. On the high-performing 20-machine route, these digital expenses drain $380 every month. For the weaker route, this monthly cash leakage reaches $290. On a typical $2 purchase, these combined fees can easily devour 6 to 8% of the gross sale before accounting for inventory or location commissions. Processor statements and software-as-a-service invoices expose how modern convenience erodes baseline profitability. Faced with these unrelenting micropayments, many operators realize their automated asset behaves more like a low-wage job, prompting them to list their routes on online resale platforms. Many frustrated operators choose to exit the industry entirely, feeding a resale market where routes are sold at a median price of $83,500 against median annual owner earnings of just $39,601. This average valuation of roughly twice the annual cash flow makes listings highly attractive, but it also invites widespread misrepresentation. Sellers frequently fabricate cash receipt reports, conceal expiring location agreements, and present obsolete, non-functional card readers as modern, smart cashless systems. To avoid these traps, a buyer must treat a route's value as non-existent until verified by a rigorous paper trail. Insist on raw, third-party DEX and telemetry exports spanning at least 12 months, and cross-reference these numbers directly with redacted bank deposit records. Require signed placement agreements executed by the actual property owner, not a transient manager, alongside merchant processing statements, active maintenance logs, and independent foot traffic audits from the venue. Without these verified documents, you are not buying an automated asset. You are buying someone else's liabilities. Today, the allure of automated wealth obscures a cold operational reality. In vending, you are not buying passive cash flow, you are buying a grueling, low-margin job. Real profit belongs only to those who run the routes. Subscribe for more honest business breakdowns.